think for a second about ditching screens. Not, completely, but imagine information just appearing right in your vision,
Uh-huh.
like translating languages instantly as you hear them or guiding you with subtle arrows overlaid on the actual street.
Yeah.
That's the potential of augmented reality glasses, right? And today, we're taking a deep dive into Google's latest play in this space.
Mm-hmm.
Forget what you think you know about AR glasses, maybe. This could be a real game changer.
Absolutely. And the idea of AR, I mean, it's been around for a while, but it often felt more like science fiction, didn't it?
Totally.
Than something you'd actually, use day to day. What's significant now, I think, with Google's new glasses is we're seeing a real push towards making that seamless integration a reality.
Okay.
So our goal today is to really unpack what these glasses are all about, how they actually work their magic, explore the cool things they might let us do, and crucially, tackle the big questions around privacy.
Yeah, because it does feel like we've, well, been down this road before, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The original Google Glass had its moment,
It did.
but then it kind of faded away for most people. So what makes these new glasses different? Are we just seeing, like, round two?
That's a really crucial point. The first iteration, Google Glass version 1, was definitely pioneering, can't deny that,
Sure.
but it had limitations in terms of capability and the design. Well, it certainly wasn't for everyone.
Weren't exactly subtle.
And plus the privacy implications raised some pretty serious concerns back then. These new AR glasses, they feel like a completely different approach.
How so?
Well, they're aiming for much more sophisticated functionality while also being designed to blend in much more seamlessly. Think of it as a move from a, very obvious gadget to something more integrated into your visual experience.
Okay, so let's get down to brass tacks. What exactly are these Google AR glasses? What kind of tech are we actually talking about that lets digital stuff just appear in front of our eyes?
Essentially, they work by projecting digital content directly onto your field of vision. It's almost like having a transparent display overlaid on the real world. So imagine you're in a foreign country, someone speaks to you. These glasses could potentially show live subtitles right there in your line of sight.
Wow, okay.
Or if you're trying to find a specific address, maybe subtle navigation arrows could appear on the actual street ahead, guiding you.
Without having to constantly look down at a map on your phone.
Exactly. No phone needed for that bit.
Yeah.
They could offer instant translations of text you're looking at or provide extra info when you're visiting a museum. It's all about bringing relevant digital information directly into your visual experience, in real time.
So instead of pulling out your phone to look something up, the information is just there. It's like the world around you becomes information rich in a whole new way.
Precisely. It's about moving beyond the screen as the primary interface for everything.
Uh-huh.
It's about having the digital world enhance your understanding and interaction with the physical world around you instantly and contextually.
Now, let's be honest. The original glass had a pretty distinct, let's call it a techie look.
Agrees.
Mm-hmm.
A very specific look.
Were they able to make these new ones less, well, obvious, less glass hole, maybe?
Definitely. That seems to have been a key area of focus this time around. Google's put a lot of emphasis on design, making these glasses feel and look much more like normal eyewear.
Okay.
They've even partnered with fashion brands, apparently, to offer a variety of frame styles.
Ah, interesting.
The whole idea is that they should just blend in.
Mhm.
You shouldn't necessarily be able to spot immediately that someone is wearing a piece of advanced tech just by looking at them. Subtlety is the goal.
That makes a huge difference, I think. If you're going to wear something like this regularly, it needs to feel and look natural, right?
Absolutely.
So how do you actually interact with them then? Are we talking about waving our hands around like something out of Minority Report?
Chuckle slightly. No, not quite like that. The interaction methods are designed to be as intuitive and discreet as possible.
Okay.
Think about using your voice for quick commands, asking for a translation, maybe. There are also subtle touch gestures on the frame itself that let you navigate menus or make selections.
On the side, you mean?
Yeah, typically on the arm of the glasses. And for some specific actions, they're even incorporating eye tracking.
Eye tracking, how does that work?
It likely means you could, say, look at a notification to select it, or something similar. The goal is really to make the interactions feel natural, so you don't feel awkward using them in public.
Good.
And it's probably worth repeating, just to be clear, our sources confirm these glasses do not read your thoughts.
Well, that's reassuring. Always good to know. Now, what about keeping these things powered up? What kind of battery life are we looking at, and how do they fit into our existing tech, like our phones and stuff?
Yeah, good question. You can expect to get through a typical day, so maybe around a full day of moderate use on a single charge. That's the target anyway.
Okay, similar to a watch then.
Pretty much.
Mm.
And in terms of connectivity, they sync with your smartphone, very much like a smartwatch does. They act as sort of an extension of your current digital setup.
Yeah.
What's really interesting, though, is the processing. A lot of the heavy lifting for the augmented reality features stuff like understanding the space around you, recognizing objects that's handled by a special low-power chip built right into the glasses themselves.
Ah, so it's not all relying on the phone's processor.
Exactly. That on-device processing is key for having a smooth, low-latency, responsive AR experience.
Okay, so we understand the tech a bit better now. Let's talk about the why. Who is actually going to benefit from wearing these? What are some real-world scenarios where these could be genuinely useful, not just, a novelty?
Oh, the potential is pretty vast, I think. Imagine a traveler, like we mentioned, instantly understanding street signs or having conversations in a foreign language without missing a beat.
That would be incredible.
Or for someone with hearing difficulties, think about live visual captions appearing in their view. That could be transformative.
I-
Delivery drivers could have their routes and delivery info overlaid directly onto their view, making navigation seamless. Cyclists could see their speed, maybe heart rate, performance data in real time without taking their eyes off the road.
Yeah, I can see that.
Even in education, students seeing interactive diagrams or historical information
Oh.
overlaid on artifacts in a museum or on textbook images.
Hmm.
And it definitely extends to professional fields. Surgeons, for instance, could potentially access vital patient data, maybe imaging scans, without ever looking away from the procedure itself.
Wow.
It's really about enhancing both productivity and accessibility in countless ways. It's
Huh.
not just about convenience. It has the potential to actually break down barriers for people.
That paints a really compelling picture of the possibilities, definitely. But we can't ignore the big question that really dogged the original glass:
That's it.
privacy.
Elephant in the room, yes.
What steps is Google taking this time to address those concerns? Because people were worried.
They were, and rightly so. It seems Google has learned some lessons in the past. They've made some significant changes, according to what they've shown.
Like what?
Well, for starters, the camera is now much more visible. It's not trying to be hidden. And crucially, there's a clear LED light that turns on whenever recording is happening.
Okay, so it's obvious when it's recording.
That's the intention. And importantly, there's apparently no option for always-on recording. You have to actively initiate it.
Right.
Google is really emphasizing what they call a privacy by design approach. They're stating that data collected by the glasses will either stay on the device itself for processing or be heavily encrypted if it needs to be sent to their cloud services.
So they're trying to be much more transparent about when the camera is active and how the data is handled. Do you think that will be enough to reassure the public this time?
Well, it's definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Being more obvious about recording is crucial. But building trust around data privacy, especially when it involves technology that's literally capturing what you see and hear, that takes time and consistent action. It's not just about the features list.
Sure.
Public reaction will likely depend heavily on how these measures actually work in practice, the overall user experience, and Google's transparency going forward. People will be watching very, very closely.
No doubt. So, looking to the future then, what's your take? Are AR glasses like this the next big thing in personal computing? Is this where we're all headed eventually?
I think many experts in the field believe this represents a really significant shift, a shift in how we interact with technology, moving away from the dominance of traditional screens.
Right, away from constantly looking down.
Exactly, moving towards a more integrated, what they call spatial computing experience. Think back to the early smartphones.
Okay.
They were initially seen as kind of niche gadgets, maybe for business users.
Yeah, bulky things.
Right. But eventually, they became indispensable for almost everyone. AR glasses arguably have the potential to follow a similar path.
And what's the timeline looking like? Are we talking next year or way down the line?
The current sort of consensus or estimate seems to be we could see more mainstream adoption, or at least the beginnings of it, within the next, say, 2 to 3 years, maybe sooner, maybe a bit later.
Interesting. So this isn't just about a new gadget hitting the market. It's potentially about a fundamental change in how we access information and really experience the world around us.
Exactly. It's about adding this new layer to our perception, a subtle, wearable technology that enhances what we see and understand, ideally without being intrusive or overwhelming.
Hmm.
It's almost like giving your eyes a subtle upgrade. making information instantly accessible in context.
A subtle upgrade for your eyes. I like that. Okay, so to kind of sum up then, Google's new AR glasses seem to be a major evolution from their first attempt,
Definitely seems that way.
offering a much more refined design, aiming for subtlety and a wider range of potential applications, from translation to navigation to professional uses.
Yeah.
They're clearly trying to take privacy concerns more seriously this time around with things like the recording light, but public acceptance on that front will obviously be key.
That's a great summary. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? How might having that kind of real-time digital information overlaid directly onto your vision change your own day-to-day life?
Yeah.
What new possibilities might open up for you personally?
Yeah.
And just as importantly, what are some of the potential challenges or downsides you might foresee in a world where our vision is augmented in this way? It's
Yeah.
definitely something to ponder as this tech develops.